Hey everyone, welcome back to Money Talks. And in today's video, we're going to analyze a question and give you some of those responses to that question. The question is why you should work with a realtor. Now, again, for the sake of this video, I'm going to say this over again. This video, it's all for educational purposes, and I'm not soliciting any business of any of you viewers of this channel. This is all something that happens in my personal experience, and this is something that I want to share with everyone via this video. So, with no further thing to say, let's start with this video. The number one reason of why you should work with a realtor, in my opinion, would be buying and selling is not as easy or simple as it looks. Now, when I say this, I really refer to all the back end paperwork and things that have to get done. An example, inspections, appraisals, any deadlines, conditions and loans, negotiations, title issues, and I can probably give you a handful more. But to not make this video an entire 2 hour long video, we're just going to say some of the most important ones, which are the ones mentioned before. And realtors really manage all these moving parts. They coordinate everyone that it's involved. They make sure that you're not missing a step. You typically have with a realtor a 1, 2, 3 step list of what you need to do in order to make this transaction go smooth. So I think that's the very first reason, making that transaction that is not simple simple, but it really is not simple. So, heads up on that. Reason number two, realtors protect your money. And when I say your money, I want to make sure that I define that. When I say your money, I mean the value that it's your home. Money obviously comes right after the sale, but the value of your house. One of the things that is super important in today's market, and I think this video is going to be everlasting because it doesn't really matter what market it is. Realtors are a source of knowledge to be able to price your piece of real estate according to the market in which we live. And that's why, or that's rather say, what I mean by protecting your money. In an example, when you price your piece of real estate really high, it's probably going to be sitting down in the market for quite a while before you even get an offer. But if you price it too low, then you're leaving money on the table, and no one wants to leave money on the table. So realtors always use local data. Every neighborhood is different. Therefore, there is data that realtors have access to that any other person that is not in real estate don't have access because it's not publicly available for everyone. It's available for real estate agents, realtors, in order to be able to give the most accurate information when it comes to pricing your home. So we use comparable sales, real time trends. This is something that we actually, or I rather say, saw last month, in which we can see by zip code how much homes are selling according to the original listing price. So it could be 92%, 95%, 97%. I actually saw, and I can't remember what zip code it was, but I saw a zip code that had 90%. Now, this doesn't mean that every house is selling for 90% of their value. That's not what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of moving parts that determine that 90% that I saw, but we're not going to talk about all those details. But that's information that we see in a really recurrent basis. We try to always stay current to all the news that happen in every market that we're servicing to be able to protect that money that is in your piece of real estate. Reason number three, expertise, local knowledge. This really correlates directly to the one that we just talked about, protecting your money, but this one goes a little bit more in depth. So every neighborhood has its own value. Every single home has its own value as well. And what's true for one block it's not going to be true for the other. And the best way that I can put this into perspective is, let's say we have two builders. We have builder A and builder B. This builder is building in this lot right here, in this block, rather say, not lot, in this block. And then we have our builder B in this block over here. Now, this builder, it's more concerned about the affordability of the houses that they're building. Nevertheless, they're building 3 bathrooms and then 2 baths. And let's say the exact same thing for this one right here, 3 bedrooms and 2 baths. But we're more concerned about the aesthetics of the home. It's not really about the price. It's more about making the house look luxurious, nice, neat. And we have an average sale price over here of 200,000. Well, we have a 300,000 in here. The reason why this one sells for more might be for the finishes that the house have. It may have granite countertops. It may have different things that will add more piece of value to this line. Even though it might be the exact same 3 bedrooms and 2 baths, this one has finishes that allow for more value to be stored in that piece of property. So back into this, real estate agents, realtors, we look specifically in every neighborhood because we know that it's not the same to price, again, with this example, B and A or A and B, whatever you want to put it, at the same price. We go based of each neighborhood. Also, different things that we may know because we live in the real estate world, we learn in the real estate world, it's local regulations. Maybe the person in San Antonio doesn't know what it's going in Allen, Texas, or vice versa. Or maybe the Houston area, really different thing before we even get into details, doesn't know what's going on in Mesquite, Texas. But same is true the other way around. Another thing that I can tell you, it's HOAs. Those are something that it's also, I mean, you can do more research and kind of get the gist of them, but they're more local. Flood zones. Also, you may know where's new developments coming. That's another thing that could add value to another piece of land. But that's the third reason. We realtors have a lot of knowledge and expertise in the local markets that we service. Reason number four, what you should be working or you should have a realtor during your entire real estate journey. The legal and contractual protection that they offer. So, a real estate contract isn't just something that you sign for and then hope for the best thing ever. It's a legally binding agreement that you can hold up if something goes wrong. An example. Well, before I say this, I'm not a lawyer, so please don't sue me. That's not what we're talking about here. This is not legal advice. If you need legal advice, please contact the lawyer. But the reason why I say this, it's every deal that gets done in real estate has its contracts that are a legal binding document that must be executed in the way that were written. An example, if in a contract for a purchase there is a specific section that says we are trying to use this piece of land for business. And as the whole transaction goes, then before the option period goes out, they realize this is a residential area and you cannot put business. Then that is something that allows you to get out of the contract. But let's flip the embers of this. If the buyer at that point says, hey, it's going to be for current use, we're going to take it the way it is, blah, 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 blah. And down the line, they get cold feet. Well, this is a contract that is binding them legally to make the purchase. So it works in both ways. And a realtor is able to explain to the best of its ability, where we always suggest always talking to a real estate attorney. But as we deal with all these contracts, we are reading through what they say and we communicate to our clients, hey, in this contract, they're stating this, blah, 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 this is what we're offering, etc., etc. So, with that being said, it's a big, big thing that you don't want to be caught up in the opposite side in which the contract is actually working against you. And that's what a realtor is for. So that before you sign anything, before you commit to anything, we give you the first aid. But if you require more than just first aid, then that's when we go to a real estate lawyer. But again, this is not um, law advice. If you seek law advice, always go to a lawyer. But that would be reason number 4. Reason number 5. And although it's not really a reason per se, I always put this in here because it's super important. But this one, we're going to take it to another video because I think it's really, really important and it could be a video of its own. For sale by owners. We, or at least I, have seen many, many things when it comes to for sale by owner. And I'm going to give you just one example of something that I recently went over. So I went to see a for sale by owner property that was near where I live. I called the person. They're like, hey, thank you for giving me a call, blah, 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 blah. I'll be available to see the house at, let's say, 3 p.m. at whatever day it was. So I agreed. We agreed. I went and we saw it. Obviously, as a realtor, I do my homework. I see who the owner is. I see if they have a mortgage. I see, if it's in a flood zone. I see, if there's any, I try to see. I always try to make sure that all the homework's there, but is there anything that I should be aware if, let's talk about it in more detail. I guess the video, you'll hear more of this in a separate video, but one of the things that for me, it's a big red flag. It's if I see it on the MLS the last time it sold, because obviously that house was really old. But if I see on the last time it sold a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, and then I walk in and it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, that's a bit red flag for me because was there any permits for the building of that? Are they on standard? Did they do anything under the table? And, I don't know all these things. And when you buy a property that has all of these illegal improvements, it could be a serious thing for the buyer. But again, as I said, we're really not going to talk about this in this video because it's going to be a really, really long video. I intend that in the upcoming weeks, we'll talk about the for sale by owners and some of the good things, some of the bad things, many, many things that we're going to talk about this. But going back into why you should have a realtor or a real estate agent when it comes to a for sale by owner. Although it sounds really great on paper that you're going to skip the commission, you're going to keep more money. This is what typically happens because going back into the example that I just gave you guys, most for sale by owners either overprice their house, and the main reason typically is because they're really emotionally attached to them, or underprice the house, like grossly overpriced. I mean, like if the house is worth 200,000, they'll have it for 120,000 or something. And most of the times it's because, okay, we owe 100,000 for the house. We'll be happy taking $20,000 and then walking away with a profit. And the reason why this happens is they don't have this data. They don't have the backup of, hey, this neighborhood is around this. Your house is XYZ. Again, we're not going to get into much details. But with that being said, I'm going to give you the example of that house that I went to see. After I met up with the person, obviously we introduce ourselves. Hello, my name is ABC. Hello, my name is BCA. Did I just say that backwards? I don't even know what I said. But we introduced, right? And I asked him like, "Hey, is your name AB?" No, that was his name. Is your name ABD? I don't know. I'm telling you, I'm really terrible with letters. Is your name ABD? And the person said, "Hey, no, that's not my name. That is actually my father's name." But how do you know his name? I'm like, oh, I saw that he is the current owner of the house. When I was doing my homework about the house, I noticed that. So are you guys related? And he was like, oh yeah, I am the son, blah blah blah. My father passed away, and we're trying to sell the house because no one's gonna live in here anymore. Blah 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 blah. So I'm like, oh okay, well thank you for letting me know. Question for you: do you happen to know anything about the title then? Because if the house still under his name, are you going to inherit the house? And he was like, well, actually, we have a lot of issues with that. Um, we think that we can sell the house, but we need to put it under our name. But he didn't have a will, so we were doing blah 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 blah. In my head, all the problems that are gonna go around were already carving into it. They were like, okay, if this happens, this is gonna happen. They're not gonna be able to sell this house because of this, this, and this. And if someone wants to buy it, they're gonna have to do this and this and this. So skipping this story or skipping the meat and the bones, what happened also was when we finished talking about all this story that he had, which I obviously appreciated the fact that he opened up to me and said all the things that are happening in the house, I asked him, so what is the value that you are looking to get for your house? And if I take a little second to say it, it's because obviously this story like kind of hit me because I was like, what? He said, oh, we're looking to get 150,000. And I don't want to be disrespectful. I think that's the best word to use. But the house was sitting in a neighborhood that, if well maintained, if well done, kept, and everything, it had a good potential for 160 to 180,000. The house was not livable. It was in a really terrible state. So it hit me really hard the fact that he said 150 because it seems higher than what a normal house will sell for. So, what happened to that house? Let me update you. This happened even before I became a realtor, so it happened more than 3 months ago. The house still is up for sale. And if you ask my question on it, it is probably not going to sell unless a big drop comes into that price. But that's the reason why you need a realtor to kind of guide you through the steps in here. Because first, if we go back into reason number one, you have title, you have all these things that are happening. So we would be able to inform you of the things that you have to do before even attempting to have this house on the market for all the issues that could come around within the transaction. Because put it in these words, we get it for whatever reason, we mark it and we put it on the market. And then someone comes in and says, I'm buying it. And then they discover all of this title issues and then the deal drops. That's not fun, right? Obviously, we wouldn't put it in the market because we would know about these issues and we would not even attempt to put it in the market. But that's not the point. The point is if it happened. So there is a lot of things that when it comes to a for sale by owner, you really have to protect yourself. And if you are not in the real estate market, if you're not a professional in it, if you don't have that much knowledge into it, it could be easy to think about doing a for sale by owner because you're skipping all of this, but you're also missing out on all the protections that can come by having a realtor. And typically, and this is something that the NAR has on their page, which is the National Association of Realtors. Homes that are sold by agents typically sell 13% more than all of those for sale by owners. And that is more than enough to cover for the commissions that are being paid for the agents, both the listing and the buyer. So it seems like a good payoff, in my opinion. So uh, I think that was reason number five. Sorry, I got really hooked up into that one. Reason number six, closing. So at the end of the day, working with a realtor isn't an expense. I gotta tell. Well, I mean, it could be an expense because you're paying them, so it kind of becomes an expense. But it's more an investment to have that peace of mind, that investment to be able to sell your house in a timely manner. Um, the peace of mind that you have a trained professional that handles all the stress for you. The only thing that you have to do is be able to allow the house to be for open houses, for showings. The rest of it, it's really on the realtor that's working for you. And they're always going to look for the best interest of you because, one, obviously, the more it sells for, the more we get commission, right? So we're always going to look for your best interest. Same works the other way around. The buyer's always going to look for their side bet's interest. So that's where negotiations come, but that's a whole different thing. Um, so, in essence, this six different reasons really for me encompass the reason why when you're on the real estate journey, you should contact a realtor. And I can tell you this: your mom's best friend's cousin, uncle, sibling, and the grandfather of whatever knows a realtor. Everyone knows one. That's why realtors are always out looking for business because we want to be the first ones that are on your mind. So always, it doesn't matter if you're in the market to buy or sell, or you're not in the, or you are in the, whether you are or not. My words are not coming out right now. Whether you are in the market or not, it's always good to have a connection with a realtor because all those questions that you may have, they're easily addressable. And they don't charge. We don't charge. I don't charge if you ask me a question. Just ask me the question. I'll see if I know it, and if I don't, I'll reach out for you, and I'll get the answer. But anyways, I won't take your time anymore, guys. It's been like 20 minutes of this video when I thought it was gonna be 10. But there's gonna be a video coming up for sale by owners. Totally forgot. Blah, 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 can't talk today. For sale by owners because I think it's gonna be a big thing that we need to talk about. There's a lot of things that for sale by owners are good and are bad, mostly bad, but we'll talk about those. Thank you for coming back.